All right. How's it going, beautiful people of Instagram? This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist, coming to you from the art studio. Today I will do a painting, little still life for you guys. Super cool, super awesome. Bam! There we go. All right, guys. There you go. Let me do a je ne sais quoi. Some awesome painting here. So I was cleaning up my table here, guys. I was thinking about something that I think I talked about it yesterday on a different. I think it was a different video. Well, it had to be, right? It couldn't be this one. But I talked about how being an artist, I kind of compare it to, and I'm talking about like a high performance. When you're doing something high performance, right? I don't just mean like if you're just painting kind of like on the weekends or here and there, you know, like if you're Picassoing your life through. I know I'm not the only local. I know there's other crazies like me out there who are obsessive about painting and paint a lot. Paint large murals, large paintings, or small paintings, but they paint a lot. They create a lot of artwork. You know, you're doing the William de Kooning, the Picasso, the Matisse approach. You create a lot of work. I noticed something that has happened to me over and over being an artist. Here we go, for those of you who are waiting for something to happen here. I've noticed something that happens to me, and I really haven't been able to put my finger on it completely. You know, I compare it a lot with being an athlete. Because the work we do is so physical. Being an artist is such a physical thing, you know. It's you remain in movement, right? Especially when you're doing, like I mentioned right now, when you're doing a lot of work, right? When you're doing a lot of work, it's a lot of movement. There's a lot of physical activity going on. The more work you create, well, absolutely, right? The more physical activity you will encounter. And I realized that to me it's a lot like being an athlete. You know, it's very psychological. It's a psychological game. There's a lot of there's a lot of psychology happening. I wish it was simpler. I try to think of it as being simpler. Maybe it is, but I think getting to that place is difficult. Maybe once you're in there, you realize how simple that is. But getting there, I feel like it's very. It requires a lot of emotional intelligence, EI. Why am I saying this? Because it happens to me. It's happened to me quite often. Where, as I mentioned, I said in another video, where there's days that I'm like, man, I'm the king of the world. And then there's days that I'm like, what the hell am I doing? You know? Do I even know what the hell I'm doing? And on, right? And I haven't been able to pinpoint it. I know that the more I do, the more I can do. I know that for sure. But that's the physical aspect of it. Sometimes it feels like you don't have the physical aspect, the momentum, the not the momentum, but the wanting to. You don't have it down, and you think that you're tired. You know, you're sluggish, and you think that you're tired, and you think that something's off. Maybe you watch too much news, or I don't know. But maybe consider that that's not it. What I've realized in my personal journey, of course, is that it all comes down to attention. The whole game comes down to attention. Sometimes we feel like that because we're not enthusiastic about what we're doing. And we try to figure out what it is. What is it, right? Why am I not enthusiastic? Why am I don't feel inspired, or I don't feel, like things are working for me. The color's off, the this, the that. And I come to realize that no matter how I try to make sense of it, it happens to me. No matter how I try to make sense of it. I try to say, well, maybe because I'm going too slow. And then other times I'm like, well, maybe it's because I'm going too fast. And on and on and on. I try to make sense of it. I don't know if anyone out there, this happens to you guys. What I've noticed about that is that there's one thing in common. I don't feel like doing the work, but I'm not honest with myself. I don't feel like creating artwork, but I push myself to do it. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm only going to paint when I feel like it, right? Because then I wouldn't be an artist, right? I would just be a hobbyist. What I discovered in my practice, in my daily practice, creating artwork, is that when I feel like that, it's because I'm fighting time. Okay? Now this is a bit abstract, a bit esoteric, but I'm really fighting time. There's only one time zone, or one time that exists, right? And that is now. It's not yesterday, it's not tomorrow, it's now. And usually every time, I'm not sure because I'm making sense of it. When I'm not paying attention, I'm not fully in, it's because my psychological time, my mental time is somewhere else. I'm either trying to catch up, or it's usually that I'm trying to speed up because I'm trying to catch up. Or I'm going slow because I don't trust myself, right? So either one, I'm out of reality, out of the time that exists, which is only now. And I realized that because I compare it a lot to being an athlete. That's why athletes have the top high-performance athletes have psychologists, right? To kind of talk them through in certain things that they're working, And I realized that these guys all talk about that. I'm like, man, I felt that before. I felt that whole, things are not working right now. What is it? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you're out of your time zone. You're somewhere else. Your head is somewhere else. You're not accepting, You're not accepting that this is now. That this is what you have to do right now. You either want to go faster. Most likely, it's almost like that. Sometimes you want to go slower, but I mean, I wish, right? Usually, it's never that you want to go slower. It's you want to go faster. You're trying to rush through things. You want to pick up the kids from school. You're running around, and you feel like you don't have enough time. Thank you so much, Joey. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. And that's what I've noticed with my personal life, that when I feel like I'm not in the zone, I'm not painting in the zone, it's because I really don't want to be there. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't want to paint or I don't want to be productive. No, what it means is that I don't want to be there. Like my psychological, I'm thinking about something else. So rather than forcing myself to be there, rather than forcing yourself, right? Getting angry and being like, man, how come my painting's not coming out? And then you're like, you start going bananas. I don't know if that happens to me. What I do now, and this is something that I'm barely discovering, right, about myself. What I do is that this is not nothing new. This has always happened to me, but I'm barely discovering how to deal with it. What I do now is that I go really slow. And I know this looks fast, but this is actually very slow compared to how I like to paint. I go very slow and I get in it. I get into the painting. And this allows me to come back to the now, to the present moment. All we have is the present moment. This helps me come back to the now. Somehow I create a little portal. I know it's a bit esoteric, guys. But somehow I create a little portal, a space where I can go into it and go into the zone. Athletes refer to it as time slowing down. No one slows down time. They're making sense of what the zone is, right? They know it well, but they're making sense of how to express it. No, you don't slow time down when you're in the zone or when you're picking up speed. What happens is that you're one with time, with true time. So it feels just right. You feel even fast. You even feel fast because you're okay with, you're at peace with what is. You're not trying to rush anything. And in consequence, you're giving the gift of speed, the gift of being prolific. I call it a gift, right? You're giving the gift of having a high sense of self, a great attitude. You tap your way to work. You tap dance. You tap dance when you're painting. But it's a gift. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. It's a gift. I don't know who gives it to you, whatever you believe in. But it doesn't come from you. It comes from acceptance of what is. And it's a little, it's a little freaky. It's not freaky in the sense of scary or anything like that. But it's interesting because I think that human beings can be very we can be a little bit, a lot, I guess, complicated. Especially artists. I think we tend to be very complicated. And I found out that one of the reasons why is because we perform like athletes. Our work has to do with physical activity. I mean, you try to paint a large painting in one day or two or a month, it doesn't matter. Try to do a mural. See how much physical activity you need. You need a lot of physical, it takes a lot of energy to create a mural or a set of paintings, or there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of physical movement, and I think that's one of the reasons why it would serve you well to look into how you can maximize your activity, your effort. And look how athletes behave. The practice is that athletes, the high performance athletes, not college kids or high school kids. No, the high performance athletes, that your famous athletes, the guys you see on TV running around. That's something I've been learning, anyways. Just wanted to share that with you guys. I think that's one of the secrets of the great artists. I think they behave like athletes. They function at a different vibration. Let's call it that. They operate at a different vibration. That's why their feelings and they don't really get in the way, because they have a high emotional intelligence. They have very strong high emotional intelligence. That's something that I'm looking into, because I'm like, man, how come some days I feel like I got it down, And other days I just feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and everything seems kind of like there's something wrong. I don't know. The color's not coming out right, and on, and all sorts of excuses and limitations. And, the more I look into it, the more I realize, man, it can't just be me that this happens to. I don't think I'm Van Gogh and I'm, going bananas. Oh, this is normal human behavior. We're a bit complicated. I don't know. What do you guys think? Here we go. So I found out, and it's hard to accept because the mind doesn't want to accept it, but I found out that if you want to be fast, allow yourself to be slow first. If you want to be prolific, allow yourself not to be prolific first. Like, allow yourself to be okay with just painting one brushstroke at a time. Allow yourself to do that. Don't force it. Don't force upon yourself something. Let it come out by itself. The more you do it, the more it's going to come out. I don't know if I'm making any sense to anyone out there that may be going through the same thing. Bam! There it is. It's an 11 by 14 inches. And let me show you guys the paints. It's a canvas board. It's one of those thin canvas boards. Very simple. I love doing this little paintings. They just oh, I'm so glad I make perfect sense. Thank you, D. But yeah, this is something that has happened to me over and over, where I'm like, how come some days it feels like I'm the king of the world, and other days it feels like I don't even know how to paint. I don't know how to mix colors. I feel that way, certainly, right? I've been painting for over 20 years. How come that happens to me? And I try to make sense of it, right? I'll tell myself, well, it's because I didn't, the consistency of the paint is not right. The primer of the canvas is not right. I've been telling myself all sorts of things throughout the years. And the more I see it, the more I realize, you know what? No, it's none of the above. It looks like that. It looks like, oh, well, I didn't practice today, or oh, blah blah blah. No, it's that there's a battle happening between what is and what you want it to be. And if you don't allow it to be, you're gonna have a hard time. Whatever that is. There's a battle happening between what the painting needs to look like and what it's looking like. Between how fast I can do it and how fast I am actually doing it. How there's always this psychological thing happening. And I very much compare it to athletes. I think athletes go through that. I know athletes go through that. I've read about it. And I think that the more we investigate, investigate ourselves as artists, those of us who are artists. I mean, this doesn't just apply to artists, but if we just investigate, what is it that is going on? Why do I feel this unsettled, being so unsettling even though I've painted for over 20 years or so, or whatever, there's an unsettling that I feel, right? When I create artwork sometimes. It visits me every now and then. What is it? And you start investigating, you realize, this has happened to me. I start realizing I'm fighting time. I really am just fighting time. I'm fighting the idea of time. I want to get there. I want to get there. I want to get there, but I'm here. So how do I marry that? Slow down. Slow down. Allow, if, for example, my gig is speed. I love painting with speed. You know, I love painting with speed. I love painting. I love being prolific. I love creating a lot of work, a lot of artwork. I'll make multiple paintings in one day. Large paintings, small paintings. That's my gig. That's how I like to create artwork that way. And sometimes when I feel like I can't do it, it's because I'm comparing myself to my best days. Right? And if I'm comparing myself to my best days and I can't perform that way, then I get all sorts of feelings, right? And I'm trying to make sense of it. Well, what is it? Maybe I didn't prepare my canvases correctly. Maybe the not enough ratio to oil of paint, to create the right consistency. What is it? What is it? And I spend my life looking at what is it. And there's nothing to it. It's just fighting time, man. Don't fight time. I don't know. I hope this helps to someone out there. This doesn't mean that you need to slow down and not like be very slow and don't do things your way, or whatever speed you work at, or whatever, or do less things. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in order to enter that place again, come from a mindful place, a slow place, whatever that is for you. Meditate. I don't know. I'm just sharing this. I'm inviting you to investigate. You may be fighting time. I certainly have. You're fighting the idea of time. I want to get there, but I'm not. I want to paint like this, but I'm not. A lot of people get upset when they're starting to paint. Like a lot of beginners, they say, "Oh man, I can't paint like that," and then they get upset about it. But why get upset about it when you're barely starting? You're not gonna paint you're not gonna paint realistic, or you're not gonna paint the awesome abstract stuff, whatever you're looking for. You're not gonna do that. You're barely starting out, so why fight it? Allow yourself to not paint well, so that you can have the option to paint well. If you want to paint fast, allow yourself to paint slow first. Allow that to happen. I know it's a bit esoteric again, but this is what I've learned. This is what I've learned so far in my personal journey. And it's a hard lesson because we don't want to listen to ourselves. We want to continue doing things the way we've always done them, and many times we reach a fork, and that doesn't work. We reach a fork, and we have to choose I find painting to be very spiritual for me. Again, it's I compare it to being a high performance athlete. I find it very, very spiritual. It really is it's a mind game. It's how much emotional intelligence you have, the better you're going to do as an artist. The less emotional intelligence, the worse you're going to do. You didn't mix the paint right, you're going to get pissed off and you're going to throw it away. Or you're not going to come back to it again. But if you have enough emotional intelligence, you didn't mix it right, you're not going to care. You're going to be like, okay, whatever. I'll deal with this right now, and then maybe next time I'll mix paint better. Or I'll paint better. Or, whatever that is. Anyways, that's my 2 cents for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little painting and this little talk. Thank you so much. And I will do a new one soon. All right? Take care. The name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.